Welcome to the first newsletter in 2022. Hilda Moore and Joan and I. You want to read it to everybody? Yeah. She helped me write it, so I think she gets to read. See her cute little smile? Ah, look at her. She's just the cutest thing. But let's make sure she doesn't poke herself in the eye with her world creating distaff. So here we go, ready to read to you. 2022 reveals her radical theme. Week 1, we explore the radical possibility of love. Friends, soul writers, mystics, lovers of prayer, I am writing this first Notes from the Field for 2022 on January 1st. Now I'm reading it to you on January 4th, but I wrote it on January 1st. And if you've read The Lotus and the Lily, you know that January 1st has been a sacred soul day for me ever since I made my first mandala on January 1st of 2010. Ordinarily, I would be spending January 1st soul writing and praying and waiting to hear the name of my year and the image, the symbol of the year at the center of my mandala. But this January 1st, I felt called to do something very different. Over the last 2 weeks, my beloved mother, Sophia, has already whispered the name of my year. She has already shown me the image at the center of my mandala. And so I'm spending my soul day writing this Notes from the Field newsletter for you. Because it feels important. This year, it feels really important to talk about the radical possibilities that await us in this year of 2022, with her rather strange bouquet of triple twos. And let us be honest about this, slightly terrifying astrological portents. On the surface, things do not look very pretty. You agree, right? Yeah. On the surface, things do not look pretty. As the song goes, the weather outside is frightful. And oh my goddess, it is, right? It is. It is freezing where it never freezes, snowing where there shouldn't be any snow, and streets are absolutely bare in locations where there should be 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet of snow. And fire, oh my God, fire. Wild, out of nowhere fires. This time it's Colorado. But we're all holding our breath, aren't we? Wondering if it's our town next. And minor detail, it's the 3rd year of COVID. Now, come on. If this is the 3rd year and COVID is still in full bloom, then we're missing something. We are not seeing something that wants to be seen. We are not hearing something that wants to be heard. And we are certainly not doing things that need to be done. Arundhati Roy, the great author, novelist, activist, speaker, articulated what this something is perfectly. Listen to what she said. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It's a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. You know a thing or two about the portal between worlds, don't you? So help us, will you? We can choose to walk through this portal, this gateway, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks, and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies dragging behind us. Or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. So what is this other world? A world so beautiful it's worth fighting for? Well, if Arundhati Roy articulated the problem, and I think she articulated it perfectly, Bell Hooks articulated the solution. Bell said, "I believe wholeheartedly that the only way out of domination is love." Now think about this. She said this years before the pandemic. Years before the pandemic made our prejudices and all the horrors of the world we have created so clearly visible. And here she was years ago, decades ago, giving us the solution. Listen again. "I believe wholeheartedly that the only way out of domination is love, and the only way into being able to connect with others and to know how to be is to be participating in every aspect of your life as a sacrament of love." When Bell Hooks died on November 15th, I saw that Parker Palmer had eulogized her online. I saw it on Facebook with this quote from her about the sacrament of love. These words, they flew off the screen and straight into my body. I cracked open, and this phrase, "a sacrament of love," penetrated and permeated my cells. This is my antidote to COVID. This is my antidote to chaos, to fear. This is what I'm going to hold on to all year. This is how Hildemore and I are going to travel light. We are only holding on to a sacrament of love. So now you know the name of my year and my mandala. It's her sacrament of love. Stay right there and I'll give you a sneak peek. Should we let them see it? I haven't even shown it to my sisters and brothers in The Return of the Witches. So you get to see it first. It isn't finished, but it's close to being finished. Can you see? 2022, for me, and I think for everyone, has to be her sacrament of love. And the symbol at the center, you recognize it, don't you? This is the Female Trinity. She who was, she who is, she who ever shall be. This is the source of this sacrament. She who was, she who is, she who ever shall be. Life without end, world without end, love does not end. This is her eternal truth. Bell's phrase sent me online to find her books. I am starting with All About Love, which came out 22 years ago. Came out in 2000. And in it, Bell begins by defining love because, as she says, definitions matter. They really, really matter. Now, this made my heart sing because I'm redefining prayer. I'm redefining witch. I'm redefining the big one. This is the one that people are most bent out of shape about, not witch. Matriarchy. Whoa, just try to use that word. So, guess I'm redefining it. Listen to Bell Hooks on definitions. Definitions are vital starting points for the imagination. What we cannot imagine cannot come into being. A good definition marks our starting point and lets us know where we want to end up. As we move toward our desired destination, we chart the journey, creating a map. We need a map to guide us on our journey to love, starting with the place where we know what we mean when we speak of love. And interestingly, when Bell then, in this entire book, did the research, she found that someone had already defined love. Scott Peck, in the world famous New York Times best-selling book, The Road Less Traveled. It came out in 1978. Here's how Peck defines love. The will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. Love is an act of will, namely, both an intention and an action. Will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. Throughout this fabulous book, all about love, Bell Hooks talks about what love looks like in action. Because it's not a noun, she tells us, it's a verb. Love, she says, is a combination of trust, commitment, care, respect, responsibility, and truth-telling. She quotes Parker Palmer in All About Love. Listen to this. To be fully alive is to act. I understand action to be any way that we can co-create reality with other beings and with the Spirit. Action, like a sacrament, is the visible form of an invisible spirit, an outward manifestation of inward power. Reading that quote, I wondered if it was Parker Palmer who planted this word sacrament in Bell Hooks, who in turn planted it in me so I could now plant it in my mandala, in my ear, and hopefully in you. Now, when you hear the word sacrament, you, like me, may initially flinch. Because this word, like so many others, has been co-opted by the Christian religion to mean Christian ceremonies and Christian rituals. But sacrament is far, far more ancient than any Christian religion. It means sacred. A sacred character, a sacred symbol, a sacred pledge. Well, this is my sacred symbol, so this is a sacrament. This is my sacred pledge to live 2022 as her sacrament of love. It's a sacrament. Or, as Arundhati Roy might have it, sacrament is that very light luggage that we are choosing to carry to imagine another world into being. Since Bell Hooks died, I have been lost every day in deep soul writing and deep soul reading about what it means to become a sacrament of love. And you know what? I'm laughing at myself because I have been playing in these radical sacramental fields of love for a long time. It wasn't the first time, but on January 1st of 2017, on my soul day, I sat down to make my 2017 mandala, and I reread, probably for the fifth or sixth time, the introduction that Jim Finley wrote for this beautiful book that is a compilation of short poems and short prose quotes from my boyfriend, Thomas Merton. Listen to this. So Jim Finley is describing, and he knows Merton pretty well. Jim was Merton's novice in the seminary. Listen to this. He, Merton, surrenders so completely to God's silence that when he begins to speak, his voice and God's voice merge in a polyphony of grace and glory that causes our own hearts to begin to stir and awaken. At that moment, I threw down this book and instantly jumped into deep soul writing because I felt those words awaken in me a prayer. I thought it would be the prayer I would say every day in 2017, but I have now said this prayer every single day since January 1st of 2017, which means that on the day I wrote this letter, January 1st, it was the 1,827th time I have said this, my opening soul writing prayer. and it still feels brand new. I say this every single day. I surrender so completely to Sophia's love that when I begin to speak, my voice and Sophia's voice merge in a harmony of grace, beauty, and love that causes hearts to stop, stir, awaken, and surrender to love. I hope you feel that when you read my books, these notes from the field, come to any of my prayer intensives. This is my sacrament, my sacred desire that my words are a harmony of grace, beauty, and love that causes you to stop for a moment. Something stirs inside of you. Something awakens, and you too surrender to love. And that image at the top of the newsletter, I want to show it to you, because if you are only listening to this, you cannot see. Now you see a lot of things that the people reading the newsletter don't get to see because I can't hold up the books I'm reading on the newsletter. But this image, Radical Love Advisory, I commissioned that back in 2018 when Prayer Artist had just come through and I was frantically, quickly writing. Really, I wasn't writing, I was receiving all of these magnificent prayers. And I asked Sandy Crump, a magnificent graphic artist, to create a whole bunch of graphics that I could then use on my website. And at long last, this Radical Advisory for Love has a home. I don't know if it's going to be on every single Notes from the Field. I don't know how we'll use it, but it's perfect for this very first newsletter for 2022. So, what is the name of this year on these newsletters? You can thank Bell Hooks in part for that, but also Star Sister Marsha Wade, because Marsha and Emma and I did record a very radically different forecast, astrology forecast for 2022, a forecast unlike any. You're probably seeing astrologers absolutely everywhere offering you forecasts. But Marsha's is unlike anything you're going to find anywhere else. It's a forecast that holds the seeds of love that you're looking for, that I'm looking for, the radical seeds of love that we're all looking for. In her non-forecast forecast, Marsha takes us on a deep dive with Venus, the goddess of love, and Pluto, the guru of death and rebirth. And she completely transforms our experience of both of these celestial beings, and in the process transforms our perception of what 22 can be all about. I think Arundhati Roy and her light luggage of love is completely in agreement with Venus and Pluto and Star Sister Marsha Wade. Together, Bell Hooks' Sacrament of Love and Venus and Pluto's dance of radical love, love that can imagine a whole new world, that became the theme of these 52 weeks of Notes from the Field. If you'll recall, last year, 2021, was the year of the body. This year, 2022, is the year we learn to listen to love. Learn to listen to love, because love has a story to tell that you may not have heard before. Listen, because it's a story you may not have been willing to hear. Certainly, globally, we have not been willing to hear. Listen, because love has so much to tell us about this radical new world that we can and we must co-create together. Listen, because love has so much to tell us about how to travel light, carrying only the luggage of love. Come and walk with me as we take one step in 52 steps on this map of a year of real, radical, transformational love. Next Sunday, January 9th, I will invite you to join me in the first prayer intensive for 2022. It's called Free Your Voice. It is a very radical love prayer intensive that will open our eyes and our ears so we can hear the voice of love and begin to speak with the voice of love. All this week, I am sending right now personal invitations to the members of the Return of the Witches pilgrimage last summer, because that's what gave birth to Free Your Voice, and also to the Lotus and the Lily, the intensive that's just now wrapping up as we share our mandalas and our sacred sacramental symbols for 2022. Until then, however, click below and listen to Marcia Wade's non-forecast forecast, A Field of Possibility, a field of the possibility of radical love. And if you don't already, subscribe to these newsletters so that you don't have to wait to hear them later in the week, but can get them every Sunday in your email. There's a link to subscribe. You can come and play at janetconnor.com. And if you do enjoy hearing these, whether you read the newsletter on Sunday as well, it is fun. I so enjoy. Do you enjoy? Yes. Hilda Moore loves reading them to you. You can click on subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you click on that little bell, then you'll get a notice when this recording is available. Because I can't say for sure that it'll be on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Kind of depends on Hilda Moore's and my schedule, right? So if you just click on the bell, your phone will let you know when we are ready to join you in this walk of 2022, the year we learn to listen to love. That's the voice I'm listening for. That's the only voice Hilda Moore speaks. Mwah. We love you, and thank you for joining us for 52 weeks of the year we learn to listen to love.